Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday, May 13th, 2021. Hope it's off to a great start. Another beautiful day in downtown Indianapolis. I get my final vaccine today. My second shot, my final shot of my vaccine coming up here right after the show. So I may have to cut a little bit early because I had to get out there at IMS and get that done. Very excited about that. Here comes Happy Boy right now. He's coming over to be a part of the show. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. He's ready for May. He's got his bandana on. Hope it's off to a great start. Thursday, this week's going by fast. Last night we had the NFL schedule release. Tonight, what do we have tonight? I don't know what we have tonight, but I'm excited. We're going to have the AMA, Ask Me Anything. That's what that stands for. It's not like mixed martial arts or anything like that. When I say AMA, it's Ask Me Anything. So bring your questions. We'll get those stacked up here a little bit. And while we're doing that, I'll go over my Steelers record prediction. I already got Blake in the comments saying 500 with a bunch of question marks because that's what I marked down for the Steelers record. I said, hey, the schedule got released, and it's looking a lot like a 500 season to me. It's looking very 500. Now, I will say that last year when everyone was down and out on the Steelers and saying 6-10, I said 12-4. I ended up being correct. So take it for what that's worth. But when I look at the schedule released last night in May, as it lays right now, I see it right around 500 record. Now, will that be good enough to sneak them into a wild card? Will people regress in the AFC North this year? A lot of people are high on the Browns, rightfully so. But we've seen how they handle pressure and expectations. So could that be something that they don't do well with in 2021 after the season they had in 2020? I don't know. But this is what I came up with. All right. This is what I came up with last night when the schedule got released, 18 games. And people either agree, people are always going to disagree, agree, whatever, okay, with your predictions for the teams, especially when it's their favorite team. But here's how I see it laying out real quickly. And I'm wearing my one last ride, okay? So I know 2021, that's what hit me. When I saw the schedule, I said, man, this is looking like this is what the last season of Ben Roethlisberger is going to look like. So we got one last ride in there. Juju's in the Corvette with them. You can get it in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. And while you're at it, subscribe below to this channel as well. But here's how I see it. Week 1, of course, starting on the road for the 7th straight season. Haven't started at home since 2014 when Antonio Brown buried, who was it? Spencer Lanning. When he buried Spencer Lanning into the turf against Cleveland. At Buffalo, I think that this will be a closer than what people think. Steelers are a 5.5 or 6 point underdog that the first lines got released. I have them losing. I have them losing 27-23. I think Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, just a little too much down the stretch like we saw last year on Sunday Night Football. Secondary can't handle it. They make one too many big plays. They lose. Week 2, home opener. I like Najee Harris to have a big game in his home debut. They beat the Las Vegas Raiders 1-1. Week 3, Cincinnati. Joe Burrow doesn't get his first win against the Steelers, continues to struggle playing in Pittsburgh like all the other Cincinnati quarterbacks, 2-1. Week 4, lose to Green Bay, 2-2. Week 5, Steelers can't win in Denver. Denver can't win in Pittsburgh, so Denver's coming to Heinz Field. They lose 3-2. Now we're feeling pretty good. Week 6, Seattle. I think I'm going to try to go to this game, October 17th, Sunday Night Football. I think it'll be a really, really fun one, a really good one. But I think the Steelers win. They go to 4-2 heading into the bye. Then they go at Cleveland on Halloween Day. They lose there in an ugly one, 4-3. Week 9, come back Monday Night Football against Chicago. I think they pick up a win over Justin Fields there, 5-3. Detroit comes in the next week, and now all of a sudden the Steelers are rolling. We're into November, and they're 6-3 because they beat up on a not very good Detroit team at home. Then they go out west, and here's where a tough stretch starts. Go out west week 11, play the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. They don't travel to the west well. I think they lose there 6-4. At Cincinnati, I have them losing on a game-winning field goal as time expires at Cincinnati. Joe Burrow gets his first win against the Steelers. I was there last year in Cincinnati on Monday Night Football with that debacle, a shit show of a game in December, a few days before Christmas. I was there, saw it happen. So Steelers can lose in Cincinnati, and I think that this is just one of those seasons where they do. And I think that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they put something together. Joe Burrow leads a game-winning drive, and they lose on the last-second field goal, 23-20. Week 13, come back for AFC North rival again with Baltimore. I think the Steelers then flip the script from what they had last week, and they do it on Baltimore. And I think Chris Boswell comes up big. Justin Tucker hits a field goal with a minute and a half, minute 40 left to put the Ravens ahead. But then Big Ben, too much time for him. He sets up Boz, and Boz nails a game winner. So now they're 7-5 going into Week 14. And this is where the season will turn. This is what's going to happen. This is how it's either going to be the Steelers won't collapse, or they're going to continue the trend over the last 3 years, and they're just going to completely spiral in December. Short week after an emotional win against Baltimore, Week 14 at Minnesota, Thursday Night Football. I think they lose this one as well. Record 7-6. I put in the blog. I know I'm gonna be saying we're letting Kirk fucking Cousins do this to us numerous times. And then Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, tough game on the road, short week. Don't like it. 7-6. Then they come back at home 5 days before Christmas against Tennessee. Week 15, I think they lose in a tough one here. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be nasty. Perfect for Derrick Henry. They're going to feed him the rock. It's going to be a physical game on both sides, low scoring. Tennessee comes out with a close win after the Steelers came out with a close win in Nashville last year. Now the Steelers are 500 going to Kansas City the day after Christmas. No shot there. They lose there in a blowout, record 7-8. Come back on Week 17 against Cleveland on Monday Night Football. They get a little bit of revenge. They avenge the last time that the Browns were in Heinz Field. Would be about a calendar year ago in January of 2021. Now it'd be on 2022. And they beat the Browns. They're 500, fighting for their playoff lives going into Baltimore in Week 18. Baltimore's trying to clinch a division, playoff positioning as well. And with that on the road, they just can't get it done. And they fall to 8-9 and right around 500. That's what I said. And in May, that's what I'm going with. And I put in the blog, I said, look, say this is Steelers. Okay, Steelers hat on. I think people are going to underestimate us. I think Najee Harris is going to be Rookie of the Year. I think Big Ben is going to come back even healthier and stronger after the year of figuring his arm out again after surgery. I think that Kendrick Green's going to be a plug-and-play center. I think Kevin Dotson's going to be a left guard. The line's going to improve, and he's still got a top defense. So I think the Steelers will go 11-7 or 12-6. And they'll be in the playoffs easily, and they have a position to make a run to the Super Bowl. Steelers hat on. Steelers hat off. This is what that blog is. Got to admit, the age, the shortcomings of Big Ben, not the same player like we saw at the end of last year. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. Defense, lost Steven Nelson. Have a couple questions in the secondary. Don't have a lot of pass rush depth. Steelers hat off. That's how I feel. I put the Steelers hat on, and I'm ready to roll, and I'm going to be there throughout. All right, and I know it's May. It doesn't matter. And a lot of times when teams have the toughest schedule on paper in May and June leading up to the season, then all of a sudden you get to the season, and those teams that were all really good last year, they all take a step back, and they're not as good in that year. And then now, from what all of us are talking about in May, we're going to look back in December. And people are going to be like, the Steelers haven't really played anybody. But then I'm going to come back and say, remember in May when everybody was talking about how they had the hardest schedule in the league? And idiots like me were saying they're going to go 500 or they're going to fall out of the playoffs. So that's going to happen. People are going to try to have it both ways. They're going to talk about how, they can't compete against this schedule. And they're going to, they just can't compete against this guy. It's just going to be. And then come November and December, when naturally – those teams take a step back from what they did last year, because you know about half of them will. And, if the Steelers are in a favorable spot in December, you know that Twitter and all the, putzes on TV are going to be talking. You look at the Steelers schedule. I mean, who have they beaten? They haven't played anybody. That's how it always goes. That's how it goes every single year. So that's my prediction. My guy Cam Hayward, at least, this makes me feel better. He said at the end of the blog, he said, let's quit whining about a damn schedule and get the hell to work. That's what he tweeted last night. So you know what, Big Cam? I'm ready to roll with that. I hope you guys go 17-0, 16-1, 15-2, whatever. I'm going to be pulling for it. I'm going to be there every week. But I got to take the Steelers hat off sometimes. Got to keep it real with some people sometimes. All right. So that's how I see it. A lot of good games, though. I'm excited. And, of course, Michael Irvin was going nuts last night on NFL Network talking about the Cowboys being in there on week 1 and the opener against the Buccaneers. I'm excited about that game. I put it as one of my top games I'm excited about just because, 1, the first night of football is always very, very exciting. And 2, I like to see the living piss get beat out of the Cowboys. That would be great. And playing the Bucs, it very likely could happen. Good morning, Jack. Funniest person at Barstool from Colin. Now, whatever questions you guys have, what do you want to ask? I got the schedule out of the way with the Steelers, so dedicate however much the next part of the show to you guys, because tomorrow I got a big one. We got a laundry list. We got I got a new series that I'm debuting tomorrow. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to be with me tomorrow at 9 a.m. But I figured today, let's make it about you guys since you wake up with me every single day. And let's just let you have some time, Let's let you have some time. So from Colin, funniest person at Barstool. Everybody that I work with is funny. It's, you turn your head and you're laughing at somebody. I've always looked up to PFT the most, probably. Even when I was, in college and before I even really started in a career like this, I always thought that PFT was hilarious. Loved following him, loved listening to Part of My Take. So he's very funny. Nick and KB are very funny. Frank the Tank is just a character all unto himself, man. But everybody I work with, that's our job. It's our job is to be able to write and be able to create, bits and videos and stuff that will make people laugh and will bring some enjoyment to people. So everybody that I work with is. But yeah, like I said, I've followed and looked up the PFT for so long. So you're starting to sound like naturally like Cowherd. Yeah, dude, it's a problem with some of these impressions sometimes. I do them so often, and when I hop on people's shows and when I do videos and everything, people ask me to do them. And so then all the time when I make a point or when I just start talking in real life, sometimes it can come out. Sometimes I find myself getting into Kuiper, getting into Cowherd, or my wife or my mom has to kind of pull me back, a little bit. Hey, you're not doing an impression. And it's like, I don't even realize that. I'm just like, it's ingrained into my head, Yeah, I know. I know they can't go 500 because there's 17 games, but I'm saying right around that realm, 8-9, 9-8, hopefully 10-7. So I know that they can't go 500 because I know that there's 17 games. So thank you for reminding me, even though I already know that. And if you read the blog, you would see that. But I appreciate you trying to condescendingly make me look bad. And I don't know if there's 17 games, CoachTpetrillo. So thanks. But I know that. From Timo, will the Steelers sweep the Browns? I don't have them sweeping the Browns. No, I have them split, and I have them splitting actually with all of the divisional opponents. So right now, I have them losing at Cleveland, winning Pretty much, yeah, home and home. I have them losing all the away games, and I have them winning all the home games. And I know it probably won't work out that way, but no, I don't have them sweeping the Browns. It'd be great if they did, but I don't. I just think on Halloween, it's in Cleveland. It's Halloween. People are going to be losing their minds. It's going to be probably a full stadium again. Cleveland's going to want to make another statement like the Steelers did, I think, last year, the first time that Cleveland and Pittsburgh played at Heinz Field, because there's so much talk about, Cleveland, this is a different Cleveland team. And this is a different Cleveland team. And then the Steelers went out there and just absolutely destroyed them, And then I know they beat Mason Rudolph in week 17 last year, and then they kicked our ass in the playoffs. So I understand that. But I think what I'm saying is that Cleveland is going to want to, again, double down, make a statement on their home field. Hey, that last year wasn't just a one-hit wonder. We're here to stay. This is our division now. Big Ben's on his way out. We're going to beat his ass, and then we're going to own this division for the next however many years. So I think they want to make a statement there on Halloween Day. And then I think the Steelers will be able to get a win. The Heinz Field crowd will be raucous enough, and they'll have that on their minds again on Monday Night Football. And they'll be fighting for their playoff lives probably in week 17, Monday Night Football. So I think it'll be a split. Yeah, Steelers could start 6-1. I said that too, Funky Town 10. I was like, the start of the schedule is pretty favorable. They could get off to another hot start just like they did last year. I mean, Buffalo, tough, but I think winnable. Las Vegas, absolutely at home. Cincinnati, absolutely at home. Green Bay, who knows? Maybe they don't even have Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Rodgers is gone. Maybe we're playing Jordan Love. I feel a whole lot different about that. And then you got 2 more home games, Denver and Seattle. So, I have them 4-2 going into their bye. But again, this season isn't going to be about just like last year and the year before that, it's in 2018. I would rather them start like the Bucs did last year, where the Bucs were 7-5 at one point last year. But you know what? They put it all together and they got hot at the right time. And down the stretch is what pushed them to a Lombardi. So I don't really care, as long as they don't start 0-5. But if they start 3-2, 2-3, 4-4, as long as in December they don't collapse, then we're good. That's what matters. Yeah. Get this question a lot. The Colts weren't in town until 1984, and so my dad just grew up a Steelers fan in Indy, and then he just passed it along to me because he stuck with them. So there you go. Coach Jones, Cowboys won't make the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, Dak Prescott coming off a brutal injury last year. They got a really young secondary, wouldn't be surprised. But then the question is obviously, you look at the NFC East, Philadelphia, you're going with Jalen Hurts. You feel good about that. New York, is Daniel Jones going to be the guy? Are we going to have another year of the NFC Beast, as PFT would call it, where, where the winner is 8-9 or whatever it is in the NFC East? I don't know. So I think that plays in the Cowboys' favor. From Cady, how's the Rico impression coming along? Thanks, Cady. Yeah, I had a great time in New York City. I love New York. I have a ton of fun every time I'm out there. And then I always have like a New York hangover from, like the week after, where I'm just like, I miss the city. I miss the big city. So definitely love New York. But yeah, the Rico impression's coming along. If I would have sat in throughout the whole week on Pick Central with Rico, I definitely would have had something ready. So it's getting there. It's getting there. But the thing about Rico is he just sounds like, every like stereotypical New Yorker, mad New Yorker. You know what I mean? Who would be your pick to go from worst to first this season? It's a good question. I mean, the trendy pick is, I can't remember, did the Broncos or the Chargers finish last in the AFC West? I think the Chargers did. So the LA Chargers would be, they're a pretty hot pick, pretty trendy pick, with Herbert in his second year, and then they bulked up the offensive line. Dave Damashek, my pal, he says that they're going to dethrone Kansas City. He says the Chargers are dethroning Kansas City in the AFC West this year. So we'll see. They're going to look good doing it, though, no matter what they do. Those uniforms are so slick, man. Wow. But, yeah, I would see where there's a case, obviously, where you can hopefully if they get Derwin James back healthy, if he can stay healthy finally, on that defensive side. And, man, I mean, they got a ton of players. And if Herbert continues what he was doing from year one to year two, and then you got – they brought in Corey Linsley. They drafted Rashawn Slater, and they got my guy Matt Filer going out there. They really rebulked up that offensive line. So it could be scary. Could be scary out there in LA. If the O-line holds up, they can make some noise. Not expecting playoffs. Pleasantly surprised they didn't get there. Never forget 9-7 in Super Bowl. Get there and let it roll. Yeah, no, exactly, Michael. I mean, I texted with my dad and my family last night. I was like, look, we're probably looking at Big Ben's last season as a quarterback of the Steelers. So I want to acknowledge that and appreciate that and enjoy that throughout the entire year, no matter how pissed off I get. And yeah, I'm going to the season just with reasonable expectations, with the hope and the expectation to enjoy watching my team play. And like I said earlier, I don't care if they start 7-1. I don't care if they start hot, because we saw in 2018, we saw last year. Yeah, the cliche, not by high starts, by high finish, man. And they sputtered, they fucking stumbled and fell down. They didn't even cross the finish line in those seasons. So, to me, I'm like, look, start 4-4, start 5-3, start 7-5, whatever. Then just get hot at the right time, put it all together down the stretch. And then, I mean, because they got the pieces, man. You have a Super Bowl Hall of Fame quarterback. You have playmakers on the outside. You're going to have a young stud running back. You got a pass rush. You're getting Devin Bush back out. They got the pieces to put something together. It's just about putting it together at the right time. Can they do that? Can they not collapse down the stretch in December like they did in 2018, like they did in 2019, and like they did last year? Can I do a Jim Rome impression? Yeah, Jim, he's one of those guys that Caliendo has, and he's been around so long that everybody has their Jim Rome, kind of. So I try to stay. What are you doing there, Hap? Happy boy. Let's get into some of my clothes. Shout out to the Normal brand clothing company. They sent me some good gear. I'm going to try to break out, maybe for a little date night or something, Come on, bub. Go hang with mama. But no, so I don't, if I had to do one for a sketch, if there's a video or there's this talk show with Jim Rome sketch, then I probably could pull something off, but I don't try to do it that often, Real Reed, 8-1. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the closest thing to 500 they could be. That's damn near what they were in 2018 after they tied with the Browns in week 1, and then they just fell down the stretch. They're 7-2-1, and they just fucking collapsed. So, yeah. From Jack, what do you think of the new 17-game schedule? 16 just felt right. 32 teams, 8 divisions, 16 teams per conference. Yeah. Selfishly, to me, I'm like, hey, more football, the better. Another week of football. They're trying to make up these matchups where it's you got the Steelers in Seattle, and you got the Colts and the Buccaneers, and so as a fan, I'm cool with 17 games, but I think that it's not going to stay there for that long. I think that it's going to be, just the starting point to where all of a sudden there are 18 games and then we get rid of the preseason, all that. So I'm cool with it. More football. Cool with me. This guy around the 4-on-2. Come on. Got any fan pet peeves, whether it be sports fan or your fans? You guys know how I feel about when people, especially like grown adults, get up in arms about being like a bandwagon. Maybe if you're in 4th or 5th grade and you're like, in the hallway walking to the bathroom and you're talking about sports and your buddy's like, well, I kind of like Alabama. And then you say, you didn't like them until they were good. It's a bandwagon. That's fine if you're like 11 years old or whatever. But, when I have like 36-year-old men with a goatee, bandwagon AF. Must be nice to be a bandwagon. It's like, dude, go pay your bills, Go wipe your kid's ass. Like, don't worry about my fandom and who I root for. So that's like my biggest pet peeve. And also just the fact that like, obviously people are going to care more and be more into it when like there's something worth rooting for, like, sure. Like just the badge of honor that people wear when they're like, I was there when they were 1-15. I was there when they were like, cool, dude. Not everybody's going to be that way. And 2 years before a presidential election, you don't see people with fucking bumper stickers and pins of some candidate that they're going to root for. No, they have it when it's like fucking July of the election year and they're passing out flyers and they're putting the bumper sticker on because it's more like prevalent then. So again, if you're in 4th or 5th grade or 6th grade and like, bandwagon the hell out of people, get mad at your buddies and everything like that, or like the kid that you don't really like or whatever. But, when you're 35, and you got a desk job and a mortgage, you got more things to worry about. So just keep it to yourself. From Mace God, when is Colin going to have you on the show? I don't know, man. I get asked that a lot. I was just on Alex Monaco, Moneyline Monaco from the Volume Sports. I was just on his show the other day, and he is on Cowherd's podcast network, The Volume. And he like knows Colin, so I'm like, I have all these, direct ties. I'm right around it. And even The Volume tweeted, they were like, great conversation with Alex and Joey something. So they're in on the joke too, man. So it's like, eventually, I will get there eventually. He's like the white whale. I will get there. Something will happen. I promise you. I don't have any knowledge or burpee boy. I don't have any knowledge or plan right now to do anything with them, but I'm trying. I am trying my damnedest, Mace God. 49ers on the worst to first. Yeah, it's not bad. From Jake, I think playing the Bills early is better for the Steelers. Ben will be healthy. I'll make him play his best football. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I would rather have the Bills week 1, 1 o'clock, rather than week 13 on Sunday Night Football or something. I mean, if the Steelers are going to pull out a win in Buffalo, it's going to be in a game like this, in my opinion. So, like I said, I think it'll be a close one. I taking my Steelers hat off. I think the Bills will win, make a few plays late with Stephon Diggs in the 4th quarter. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Steelers could pull something out there in week 1. Thanks, dude. Yeah, still getting used to it. Around the 412, I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Julio Jones hasn't been asked yet. I'm really, really excited for the Colts Seahawks week 1 game. That's like one of my top games I am excited for. I called it the Cowherd Bowl, because he loves Russell Wilson and he loves Chris Ballard and the Colts. So it's the Cowherd Bowl in week 1 at Lucas Oil Stadium right here in my backyard. So I'm excited for that one. I was focused more on the Steelers. Let me pull it up. I'm excited I'm going to try to go to the Buccaneers game. I want to see TB12. He comes to Indy, I think, in week 12, maybe? Week 12, Thanksgiving weekend. Tom Brady's in town. So that's good. That'll be a fun one. Yeah, you got Seattle. You start off 2 home games. I mean, that's nice. You know, the Colts traditionally, in the past 7 years or so have struggled early. You know, they're typically starting 0-1, 1-2 around that range. So Seattle at home, LA at home. You're gonna get Quentin Nelson and Aaron Donald in week 2, man. That'll be fucking phenomenal. So 2 games at home start, divisional at Tennessee, and week 3. Miami's gonna be tough, man. I'm not loving this first 7 weeks for the Colts. Got to be honest. Seattle will be a tough home opener. LA, remade with Matt Stafford. Great pass rush. At Tennessee, and I know that the Titans haven't been able to beat the Colts hardly ever, since, they became the Titans. The Colts have just owned them. But at Tennessee there, it's going to be super hot. And at Miami, super hot as well. Miami is going to be tougher than people think. And then at Baltimore on Monday Night Football. Ugh. I would not be surprised at all if the Colts were 2-3 after the first 5 weeks. But again, get that out of your system in September and the beginning of October, and then figure it out late. Play on Christmas. That's fun. Everybody's complaining about the Colts don't get any primetime games. They're playing on Christmas night in Arizona, albeit, but still. There you go. Merry Christmas to you guys. And then the week before, you could be the Saturday. This will be fun. You could be the Saturday December NFL weekend game against the Patriots. So you got your old rival coming in to your stadium, and that probably will get flexed to the Saturday, and that's one of the best days of the year. Got 3 NFL games the week before Christmas on a Saturday. That's beautiful. I don't know, though. I wouldn't be surprised, man. 2-3 in that first 5 weeks, that's a tough stretch. Especially, the Colts have a great roster. They have a really solid roster. But, the question just lies with number 2. Is he going to be a different player? Or is he going to struggle? But people just keep asking for impressions. Yeah, but it comes with the territory, dude. To a certain extent, you know what I mean? I embrace it. I enjoy it. I'll do it for people. Yeah, absolutely. Because I understand that that's, what jump started, what people came to me for originally. And then I try to keep everybody around with things like this and different videos that I do and whatnot. But, there's just a certain line, eventually where it's just all right, come on. I told the story a bunch where I was out at the bar and 3 or 4 guys were just come on, do it. Come on, do it. Come on, do it. And I was like, man, I don't this is we're in a public place. I'm with my buddies. Just, not tonight. And then somebody DM'd me later that night from that group and was like, you're not as cool as I thought you were. Just do the impression next time. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Get out of here. So that could be annoying. From Caleb, have you tried to reach out to Saban? I haven't. I don't, I'm intimidated to kind of, Caleb. I don't know how I would. I'm social media and internet friends with his daughter, Kristen. And so I've thought about reaching out to her, but I know I've seen times where she's posted stuff, that's just she posted stories or tweets that was a reminder, I can't get you tickets. I can't get you autographed items, all this stuff. Cause I'm sure she gets asked a ton by everybody for something to do with her dad. So I've thought about it. Because I'm look, I might as well use it. If she says no, she says no. But that's his freaking daughter. That's a close relationship there. So I've thought about that, and I've thought about reaching out to the Alabama, SID or program or something. But I kind of told him off one time because he kind of gave me shit. He was real defensive about it and kind of shat on my work. And then I went back at him. So he probably doesn't like me, but. I don't have like my in with Alabama like I do with LSU. Derek Panamsky, my guy down there, he's like Coach O's right-hand man. And, he hooked me up with these helmets and everything. Like, he keeps me close to the program. He, is pushing for me to get down there this fall. So I don't have one of those connections with Alabama. If you guys do, let me know. But maybe I'll just go through Kristen and I'll try to see if there's anything there. I don't know, but it needs to happen. From Jack, any sportscaster from your childhood you'd love to have met? I've actually been really lucky, man. The guy right there behind me over my shoulder, Rich Eisen. I consider him, kind of a mentor and a friend now. He's a guy I grew up watching on SportsCenter in the 90s and then in NFL Network, watched him forever there. And I always enjoyed his style and thought he was funny and enjoyed how he went about hosting. And it wasn't just, sports, but he was having fun with it. And then in 2020, right before the pandemic, I was out at Prime 47 in downtown Indianapolis. And that's, like the spot. It's like the prime spot. It's prime, but it's like the main location for, the NFL folks in the NFL world to hang out when the combine is in town in Indy. And so I was down there doing something with the Saints, and then I went over to the other room, and it's where everybody, from the NFL was. And I saw Rich, and I was talking to my buddy Phil, who was a wide receivers coach for the Chargers, and he knew Rich, and so he was like, "Can we introduce you? Come on, introduce you." So he took me and my wife over there, introduced us to Rich. And Rich had actually followed me not too long before that on Twitter. And so we had a great conversation for about 20 minutes. And he was awesome. And he was so good to my wife. And then from there, we kept in touch through the pandemic. And me and Caliendo went on Rich's show during the pandemic together and had fun there. And then, he came on my show. So I've been lucky, man. Rich Eisen is a great dude. And he's definitely one of those. Kenny Mayne, I talked about him the other day. He's somebody I'd love to meet. I've DM'd with him on Twitter before and stuff, but I'd love to meet and have a conversation with him like I did Rich. So yeah, I've been really lucky. From Stephen Latham, what do you think of Najee? What are his numbers this year? I love Najee. I'm excited. I'm very excited to see number 22 out there toting the rock, catching the ball to the backfield, making things happen, and bringing some spark back to that run game, man. I'm very, very excited for Najee Harris. Seems like a great dude. The charity work and the stuff that he's done with, the homeless and everything. I mean, he seems like a really, really good dude. And I think he's going to be a stud. So I'd expect really, really solid numbers this year. People have him as one of the favorites for Rookie of the Year, and I fully expect, if healthy, knock on wood there, that he'll be right at the top of that for sure. Debated getting a jersey, but my parents and my wife said no. I said you can't yet. He hasn't proved himself yet, so we'll wait. From Jake, how do you feel about the NFL having games on Christmas Day now? I'm normally a Christmas movie guy, but don't want to miss any of the action. Yeah, Jake. It is a little foreign just because I'm with you. It's usually like, you have Christmas Vacation or Jingle All the Way or like The Grinch, or I know a lot of people throw The Christmas Story on that's, running all day on TBS. Burpee boy. Shit. Sorry. So it is a little bit weird because you got that you're used to, but then also the NBA is playing all day. And that's typically been the NBA's day. And now the NFL is saying, nah, fuck that. We're going to cuck you out of Christmas Day. And they're doing it. And so you got to be something you got to balance, dude. If you got to bring out the multiple TVs on Christmas Day, then you got to do it. Have Christmas Vacation on in the background. Have Christmas Vacation on as the main screen, but then off to the right, you got who's the other Christmas? Oh, then you got Packers Browns. And I don't mind the prime. There's been plenty of times before where there's been like the prime time, like 8:20 Christmas night game. And I don't mind that at all, because then you're winded down. It gives you something to kind of ease you out of the Christmas high. You're like, I got football on, getting some normalcy. Oh, it's Christmas is over, but at least I got football on. So the Colts and Cardinals playing that game this year, so that'll be good for a lot of my friends and family. My grandma basically has already canceled Christmas because she's such a big Colts fan, which is fair. I mean, the Steelers have played on Christmas multiple times over the past handful of years. So that's all I'll say. I love when there's sports on Christmas Day. I don't like it when your team is on Christmas Day. It's just too much stress. It's the happiest day of the year, one of the happiest days of the year. You look forward to it. The last thing you need is the Steelers, fucking driving you up a wall on Christmas Day. So I love when there's sports on Christmas Day, Christmas night, Christmas Eve, but I just I think every team should be able to experience it one time because it's cool. You're like, I'm opening presents. They're on. I got a present. My team's on. It's very exciting. But then when you're spoiled like a Steelers fan and they're on more than just one time, then you're like, all right, you know what? I just give me my Thanksgiving. Give me my fucking Christmas. I don't want to have to stress and think about, why formerly Randy Fichtner is calling some bullshit play on 2nd and 8. So that's how I feel about it. I don't want my team playing on there anymore. What is your random NFL team you want to see do well? For me, it's the Panthers, but I have zero reason to be a fan of them. Yeah, Jake. The Panthers to me are a really easily likable team. They aren't really bothering anybody. They have great uniforms, great colors. So the Panthers are one for me because of that. But then also I'm buddies with Christian McCaffrey. He's been great to me, so I root for him to do well. So that I wouldn't say teams I have anymore. I just have individual players. So I'm a huge Steelers fan, obviously. So I want my team. I want the Steelers to do well. But then when it's not that, then I'm just rooting for individual players. Rooting for Christian McCaffrey. I'm rooting for Tristan Wirfs. I'm rooting for George Kittle. I'm rooting for Kenny Moore. Trying to think of who else. Yeah, those are just a few guys. So now I'm not as much with the teams, but just like the players, if they're doing well, if I have interaction with them, if I have a relationship with them, Cole Toner, my buddy that I grew up with, went to high school with, good friends with, who plays for the Texans now, offensive lineman. I was hoping that the Steelers were going to sign him for some depth, but he went down to Houston, got himself a nice deal there. So just people like that, I pull for the individuals now besides the Steelers rather than any team. Yeah, baby. That one just seems fun. It seems like a great weekend to be in Pittsburgh. I feel like, it'll be a nice mix of like cool fall weather, but not hot. You know what I mean? Starting to get into football weather. And then I've never seen Russell Wilson play. So that sounds awesome. Let's do it, dude. From Doe, which rooks you keeping an eye on? I mean, obviously the quarterbacks. I'm really interested to see what Justin Fields does in Chicago. Happy for my Chicago folks, my Chicago friends. So I like Justin Fields a lot. See what he does. Jamar Chase, be keeping an eye on him. Reconnecting with Joe Burrow. Obviously, all the Steelers rookies. Quinn Miners for Denver. Another guy that I'm a fan of. The Gut. See how he holds up in Denver. Rondale Moore, Purdue guy. If he'll be either just like a Dree Archer gadget type of player or if he'll be more of an every down dude that's just a matchup nightmare. I'm hoping it's the latter. I think it'll be the latter. I mean, the dude, as an 18-year-old true freshman, was an All-American, first-team All-American, dominated Ohio State. So it's not like he can't get the job done or be a problem. It's just, how do they use him and can he stay healthy? Who else? I'm going through the first round. Quiddy Pay, just being in Indy, being in the backyard. I like to see. He seems like a good dude. That tweet that he had was so funny of his brother with the nun. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he tweeted out, "I was like, my brother's a fool," and it was a picture of his brother with this nun. And Quiddy was like, "Why'd you take a picture with her, though?" And his brother was just like, "I didn't think they were real." So he took a picture with his nun at like a fucking Kroger, just in the aisle. And so I'll be keeping an eye on Quiddy. Chris Ballard hasn't had the greatest luck with drafting edge rushers and drafting pass rushers. You know, he's really good up front, really good offensive line, really good linebacker, had success with DBs, all that, running back Jonathan Taylor. But, you know, pass rusher has been kind of a spot, so we'll see if Quiddy pans out. From Jimmy, what are your non-biased thoughts on Lamar? I think Lamar is one of the most exciting, electric players I've ever watched. You know, college football, I said he's the fastest college football player I've ever watched on TV. The NFL, it's up there as well. I think he's this generation's Michael Vick, if not better. So I think Lamar is revolutionary at the position. I think he is a hell of an exciting player. I think the Ravens have an identity, and they stick to that identity, and it plays right up his alley. To me, it's just always been longevity. 2018 came in as a rookie down the stretch. He got his time. 2019, obviously 14-2 MVP. 2020, another playoff season. So he's 3 years in, been in the playoffs every time, and then now we're going into year 4. Does it continue? I mean, to me, it's just always been longevity. When Lamar Jackson loses that half a step or loses that step, then what does he become? But I mean, there's no denying the last 3 years, his first 3 years in the season, he's been one of the toughest matchup nightmare, electric, just incredible, all the above. So I don't like playing him, that's for sure. How is Trevor going to do with the Jags? We'll see, man. I mean, he's had success everywhere he's gone. High school, college. I think he's maybe lost one game in his high school, college career, so he knows nothing but success. And so I think it takes a guy like him to come into a franchise like Jacksonville and, change the culture and turn things around. He looked up to Peyton Manning a lot when he was a kid. And he kind of feels like that Peyton Manning type prospect that like he's just going to come in and he's going to cover up a lot of holes and he's going to make everybody better. And, he pairs them right with Urban Meyer and, they take off together, then I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think he'll succeed, though. I think he's just one of those that, like, even if he's not Peyton Manning or John Elway, there's no way he's going to be like a Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell, Like, there's no way that he'll be – I think he's unbustable. Huh, that's it. He won't bust. This is bad. This is all – He's not a guy that's going to be a bust. Now that may not mean that, again, he's going to be Peyton Manning, but I think at the very least, you're getting a guy that's going to make your franchise relevant again and keep you in the thick of things. Best non-QB of the past 20 years to not win a Super Bowl. For the past 20 years. Yeah, we were kind of talking about this on Pick Central last week. Adrian Peterson for you. 20 years, so 2001. Man. Trying to think of like some wide receivers or somebody. I don't know. I don't think Champ Bailey ever won one. If I remember correctly. He was on those Denver teams just before like Peyton got there and they won it all, I'm pretty sure. Randy Moss. Yeah. It's gotta be Randy. Yeah, it's gotta be Randy. Yep. That hit us at the exact same time, Jack. Yeah, I think it's got to be Randy Moss in that discussion. But, a guy like Champ Bailey, Adrian Peterson, Calvin Johnson for the brief time that he was in there could probably go up there as well. So, yeah. All right, this was a really fun show, man. 50 minutes. I gave my Steelers predictions, and the rest of it was all dedicated to you guys. So I appreciate your questions. I appreciate you rocking with me and waking up every morning. Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be another beautiful day. I'm going to get my second shot here in about half hour, 40 minutes. So excited about that. Tomorrow's a big show. I need you to subscribe because I got a new series coming out tomorrow. I need you to subscribe to the channel. I'm very, very excited about it. It's in the tank or in the vault or whatever the fuck they call it. In the can. It's in the can, ready to go for tomorrow. So we'll have laundry lists tomorrow, and then the start of a new series, mini series, limited series. That we're going to have here on this channel that has to do with the month of May. So very excited about that. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Search Cup of Joey or youtube.com/c/Cup of Joey if you're not watching on YouTube already. If you are watching on YouTube, just scroll down a bit, hit that red subscribe button, like this video, and get yourself a One Last Ride shirt while you're at it, or a Cup of Joey mug. Appreciate that. Hydrate for that second shot. Thanks, Cady. You got it. Yeah, I'll probably maybe feeling like shit tomorrow. But I'll be here back with you guys again tomorrow for Friday